Blog Talk Radio.
Please take all the necessary precautions to protect your Constitution while listening to this broadcast. 3, 2, 1. Coming to you live via the internet. It's time for Rage Against the Regime. Let's get ready to rumble! Finally, a show for patriots, defending the Constitution and uncovering the truth at every turn, bringing you exclusive interviews and covering the topics the mainstream media doesn't dare to touch. Call in and join the discussion at 929-477-3565. That's 929-477-3565. And now, here are your hosts, Bobby Who's the Man and Becky Williams. Rage Against the Regime.
I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes, I am, yes, I am.
Gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. I'm your host, Becky Williams, and I am joined today by Bobby Who's the Man, my mentor and sidekick. Bobby, how goes it today, brother?
Going well. Of course, I'm stuck at work as always, but doing pretty well. Just
Fantastic.
getting ready for my son's birthday party this weekend. Really looking forward to it, and good times abroad.
Fantastic. I haven't had the opportunity to get everybody on board on the show today, so it may be a little bit before we get a bunch of calls in from the normal people that I send a blog text out to. That would be because I have been exchanging phones, and I have to download information in order to get those texts sent out. But I will get it done. Bobby, tell me what's going on with Yellowstone.
Tell you what?
What's going on with Yellowstone?
Well, a report it's not a report. Actually, a newscaster did a story yesterday. Sorry if there's any background noise, but like I said, I'm at work. A newscaster did a newscast yesterday from Yellowstone National Park with the geologists that's there. In the beginning, they were talking about the caldera and about the volcano, talking about, everything about it. There's a nice little article. In the beginning, they were saying, oh, we don't expect anything anytime soon. Then, towards the end, they said to the gentleman, how long before you think this thing could go off, whatever, and he used the word 2 weeks. Now, I don't know if it was something that was misconstrued or what the case was. I sent a email to the PR director who I happened to been in contact with before. His name is Al Nash. I sent Al an email asking him, what's going on. Al's reply to me was that he didn't even see the video that I was talking about, so I sent it to him. He sent me a letter after that, which I can read in a little while, but I'm driving right now and don't want to, I don't want to go into it like that. But he was pretty much saying in the letter that that wasn't said. So that somebody took it out of pocket. He was even saying that he thinks that somebody may have tampered with the video. I mean, I don't know. He didn't use those words, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty interesting. So we're monitoring what's going on there. Do you have any idea how many earthquakes have actually occurred in the last couple of weeks there? I know that there's been quite a bit of activity, and I haven't really followed it. I know that you probably have. Can you give us any updates on what's going on there?
Yeah, I actually can. I'm sorry. One of the drivers pulled up next to me to ask me a question, and I muted myself.
That's okay.
Repeat the question, please.
I said I know that there's been quite a bit of activity, but I really haven't stayed on top of it.
Yes.
So do you have an idea of what kind of earthquake situation we're experiencing out of Yellowstone?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's what I thought you asked me. Okay, and I wanted to make sure I had you right. Yes, in a 48-hour period, there was over 120 earthquake swarms. Now, the thing about that, somebody reported, and it was a woman that had really no linkage to anything. She was just actually reading off of a website. She was reporting 3.8 and a 5. I think she even said like a 5 point was earthquakes that were happening, but that couldn't be any further from the truth. There was no 3 point anything or any 5 point anything. So with this being said, let's see here. There has been a lot of activity. Sorry, I'm out of breath because I'm moving some trailers around. There has been activity, but nothing to worry about. Okay? The earthquakes that they've been having there have not been anything over 3.5. I mean, you might get one here and there, okay, but that's usual. When you need to start worrying people is when you start getting 3.5, 4.0, 3.8, anything over 3.5 and it's happening in swarms, start worrying about it, okay, because there's going to be something to worry about. So right now, the way that it's happening, 128 earthquakes in a 48-hour period is a lot. But now, let's take it, for instance, in that area and at Yellowstone National Park, they are known to have thousands of earthquakes a year. Okay? And I could probably give you exact numbers for the last couple of years because I actually have notes on it. How many we've had, like in 2012, 13, 14, so on and so forth. But the numbers have been pretty much the same, only off by a few here and there for the last couple of years. Okay? So it's not like anything out of the ordinary is happening there that we need to worry about. I mean, at all. The thing that we need to start paying attention to is if you start seeing swarms happening and they're 3.5, and greater, and then they're getting worse and they're starting to get into the 5s and they're happening a lot, like 100 and some odd in a 48-hour period, then you need to start worrying. Okay? Now, I would like to read to everybody the response, okay, that I got from Mr. Nash. Okay? If I can. So this is what was said by Mr. Nash. Let's see here. I'm sorry, give me 1 second because I'm trying to bring up the information while I'm sitting here getting ready to hook up to the next trailer. This is the response that Mr. Nash gave to me when I sent him the email. I should have just read the whole email. First, I called him up, and I said, hey, this is Bobby Ritter. I don't know if you remember me. I did a podcast with you, and he goes, of course I remember who you are. Hello, how are you? So on and so forth. We started talking a little bit, and he said, has it already been a year? Because he told me to contact him back in about a year, and, we would cover Yellowstone a little bit more. And I said, no. I go, it's probably been about a year. I go, but that's not the reason why I'm calling you. I'm sure you know why I'm calling you. And he said, I have to tell you, I'm afraid that I'm not sure why you're calling me. So I said to him, do you know about the KSFY newscast that Hank did? Hank is he's the geologist, but he's also a park ranger at Yellowstone National Park. So he said to me, he goes, I know that they were walking around here and they were doing something, and they were interviewing him, but I have not seen the video as of this point. So I said, let me send you the video, and then I'll get back in touch with you in about a half an hour, 45 minutes. I sent him the video, and I would say 20 minutes later, I got an email. This is the email from Al Nash. Bobby, this short section of the longer interview as used in the KSFY story was not the clearest statement Hank could have made. However, he was being realistic in that with current technology, we can only be certain about the future events for a short period of time. In no way was he suggesting that the Yellowstone caldera will erupt in 2 weeks. But I realized that the conspiracy buffs will do their best to spin it as such. Why a certain group of individuals feel the need to unnecessarily frighten a segment of the population with the unfolded nonsense that a major devastating eruption of the Yellowstone caldera is imminent is beyond my comprehension. Now, I want you all to realize something. Al Nash is the PR director for Yellowstone National Park. Al Nash's job is to tell you exactly what he sent to me in an email. Okay? His job is to keep everybody calm, and even if it's a terrible situation, his job is to tell you something that might make you smile and go about the story, even though it's very, very bad news. Okay? So, I've talked to Al Nash more than once. I've interviewed him more than once. Al Nash is a very nice guy, but like I said, it's his job to tell us, all the information, but to tell us, with a smile on his face, no matter how bad the news is.
Yeah. Good point, brother. Good point. It sounds like you're on top of that situation. Please let our listeners know if there are any changes in activity in that area. It's not just the earthquakes, but a possible eruption, but it's the things that are emitted into the air that can be so devastating to the environment around that area, the gases.
Absolutely.
And the radiation. So can you keep us, please keep us informed, because I myself am very curious. I don't believe I live close enough to experience the fallout as a whole in the event that erupts, but I still will be affected, even all the way down here in Texas.
Let me tell you something, Becky. Everybody's going to be affected, okay? Everybody in this whole nation. Think about it this way, okay? Food is not going to be on the shelves, okay? You're not going to be able to go down to your local grocer and just pick up anything that you need, first of all, because the shelves are going to be pretty much empty, because the animals and the vegetation that you're used to being able to walk into the store to buy are probably not going to be available, because most of those animals are going to be sick. Okay?
Yeah.
From the dust in the air and everything else. Another thing is, prices on everything are going to skyrocket so high because, supply and demand. Do you know what I'm saying? It's going to be a supply and demand situation. Okay? I hate to put it that way, but that's really the only way to put it. It's going to be supply and demand.
Wow.
So, people need to realize one thing. Look, I'm saying something that I'm preaching to you something I'm not even prepared for, okay? We all need to maybe, think this out a little bit, take a look at it, and say, okay, look, you know what? A friend of mine that lives in Colorado and my wife earlier today both said pretty much the same thing. You know what? If it happens, it happens. There's really nothing. None of us are going to be able to do about it. Okay? It's an act of Mother Nature, and you know what? If it happens, what are we going to do? There's nothing we can really do about it. Okay? But you can make preparations. Go out and buy yourself maybe a little bit of extra water. Go out and buy yourself some rice, some canned goods, something. Because they're saying that if that goes off and it's a bad one, because you know what? It could go off and it could be a small-sized one that is really nothing. You know what I mean? It might be very minimal where it doesn't really do anything too bad to us.
Right.
So, but what people need to do is maybe go out, and spend a few extra dollars and maybe go, pick up some stuff, some extra supplies that, some water, some this, some that, stuff that you can stick in the freezer, canned goods, whatever. Do something, maybe prepare for it. Now, I'm going to tell you something. They say anybody within 1,000 miles is probably going to have problems, okay? And their way of life is going to change dramatically. Everybody's way of life is going to change, but some worse than others. I'm over 1,400 miles away where I live. So are you. Okay? So we're probably in a safe zone. But when you really think about it, is there a safe zone? Because if that really hits the fan, where do you think everybody's going?
Right.
They're coming towards us.
You'd be correct.
They're going to come take what we have. Yep. So.
Wow. That is that's crazy. It really is. But I think that folks need to not wait for disaster to happen, but to prepare. I mean, disaster can happen any day. It could be a tornado. It could be a hurricane. It could be a wildfire, and of course earthquakes and the other natural disasters. And now we know we have an active volcano. We know what happened in Washington State when we had an eruption some years back. And that was devastating in itself, but it wasn't a great loss of life, but it did affect the environment, the wildlife, the ecosystem, the ozone level, and the climate. So for the listeners, pardon me, we're not trying to cause fear or panic in anybody, but you need to be aware of what's going on, not just in your neighborhoods and with your government, but with your earth, your surrounding environments. And watch carefully and make sure that you're prepared for a situation like that. However, I know that if Yellowstone blew, there'd be a lot of death attached to that because it will be a catastrophic explosion. And they're saying that if in fact it does, it would be equal to or worse than what happened in Pompeii many years ago. So.
Oh yeah, this is going to blow the doors off of anything that's ever happened in our history. Okay, this is going to completely blow the doors off of everything. You think Mount St. Helens was bad years ago? What was that?
Yeah.
1980, was it
80.
the 83 or 87 or something like that? If you thought that was bad, this is going to be 1,000 times worse. That's their words, not mine. That's their words. 1,000 times worse.
What'd they say, like, how many times Hiroshima, the devastation will be, I think it was 3 or 4 times the magnitude of the atom bomb being dropped on Hiroshima.
Well,
can you imagine that?
Probably.
I mean, that's insane. And we have some pretty interesting stuff going on right now in the country. I want to touch base on something that happened here in Texas again yesterday for the listeners that may not have had the opportunity to listen to the show yesterday. We had the 11th, mind you, 11th. This was not the first. It was the 11th Texas Muslim Capital Day. So this is not something that just started happening. It's just something that, for whatever reason, they've gotten brave enough to come out and let us know this is what they're doing. A couple things went on yesterday in the capital state, in the state of Texas, at our capital. Number one, Congress was not convened. So the congressmen that engaged these cockroaches, these jihadists, these terrorists, at my state capitol yesterday came in specifically to do business with them concerning forming a coalition with them, a political coalition with them, okay? I'm not good with that. I'm really not good with that. They used our state capitol on a day that Congress was not convened to do their nasty. So that's first and foremost. I want to clarify that, and hang on a second. Campo's asking me. She's going to come on and talk to us about what happened. I'm telling her we're going to be on for a couple of hours. She's going to call in it because she was in Austin, Bobby. Micah was in Austin.
Like always.
Yeah,
like always.
She's got her baby with her, so it may be a minute or two, a little bit before she can call in. But I've asked her to. But anyway, back to the story. So here's our situation, right? We have these pigs, these terrorists at our capital doing business with our government. It's not to say it's not their government, too, because they're in our state. Of course it is. But what it is to say is that our Congress set up house with preference for terrorists. And they're welcome. There's a welcome mat on the doorstep, obviously, for them. Now, just to recap what's happened just in 1 month in Texas, actually in 3 weeks. 3 days before the rally in Garland, we had an Imam Pig terrorist holding a Muslim prayer on the Capitol steps here in Texas. Then what followed was the terrorist and co-conspirator unindicted by our government and an imam for the chapter of Texas CARE chapter, the Islamic Council of America. They spoke at an event in a building that was leased out to them where they broke the lease by discriminating against non-Muslims, would not let paying customers into an open public conference, and the lease specifically states that you cannot discriminate based on race, color, religion, so on and so forth. They wouldn't even let the media in because they didn't want us to know what the hell they were talking about. I can tell you that right now. So with that said, they were set up for people to come in or that might show up to keep them out, and they knew who they would be, and they knew who their people were. Don't know how they did all of that, but they did it. And they managed to secure the secrecy of an open public conference in a publicly owned building by the school district. Anyway, so we have this rally, just days, and we only have like a week before we find out about it to counter it. So thousands show up. We had a great showing. We had agitators. Of course, they did everything they could to try to agitate us so that it could be caught on film and we could be deemed, the aggressors. Now, just the following day, those same pigs moved to Houston, and they held a conference there at a hotel. And we had very few protesters show up. In fact, the number was pathetic. It was, I believe it was less than 50 show up. So I'm a bit disappointed. Needless to say, I'm disappointed at the showing of people who showed up. Now, 3 days after that, we had terrorists, some more cockroaches, in Houston. They keep targeting Houston, so they're making a statement there. They've taken over Houston for the most part. They have the most mosques than any city in the state. But they, the Muslim Brotherhood, Egyptians, were protesting the overthrow of Morsi by the Egyptian military, okay? Why? And when they finished there, they moved on to Washington, D.C., to our capital, our national capital, and they held their protests there. Okay. This is all in 1 week. So then what follows that, obviously, is what we experienced yesterday. Muslim Capital Day, congressmen going in, using our capital, our government for a specific group to appease them, to go in and have talks with them about what they want and form a coalition, a Democratic Party, and that was the statement that was made. So we didn't have but a handful of folks who showed up in Austin. Shame on you, excuse making, no doing, sit on your ass, bitch and complain and wait for somebody else to do your job, patriots. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm all about being blunt and truthful, but I don't know how. I can't put it any other way because I'm so disappointed that, so few are working so hard and so many are doing nothing but bitching and thinking they're accomplishing something. Listen, the Internet is a great highway of information, but at the end of the day, the government has even managed to control your reach on the Internet. You're not doing anything but complaining and getting pissed off, affecting your health, wasting your time, valuable time that you could be productive, doing something, taking action, being a leader, getting out in the streets and making a difference. But you won't. You make every excuse as to why you can't. And even when some of our patriots extend their hand to give a ride, pay for the trip, and buy you a box lunch, you still sit on your ass and don't show up when you had every capability to do it. So I'm tired of that. And we had a congresswoman out of Belton, Texas yesterday, and let me pull the article up because God bless her. Man, I've got to say to this woman, God bless you for what you did. Her name is Molly White. Miss Molly, you're one of my heroes now. I appreciate what you did. Remember I just told you that Congress wasn't in session, that the Congress women and men that did show up yesterday were doing it specifically to form a coalition with the Muslims. They knew exactly what the intention was and what the purpose was. And to me, that's treason. For you to invite terrorist organizations that have been deemed terrorist organizations into my state capital, they've been deemed that by the federal government, not just by me, okay? you're a traitor. And I want a list. If anybody out there within earshot of this show, if you have a list of the Congress men and women in the state of Texas that entertained what happened yesterday, I want it because I'm going to bring them up before an ethics committee, and I'm going to bring them up on charges for aiding and abetting the enemy, period. So that is my intention. NSA, take that back to your monkey in the White House and tell them I'm pretty pissed off about it. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something. I'm not going to sit on my butt in my house and complain. I'm actually going to get up and go out there, and I'm going to get in front of the person I need to get in front of, which I believe is the Speaker of the House, and I'm going to let my concerns be known, and I'm going to demand that they take action or they will be held accountable. All I need is one constitutional sheriff in Texas. So if you guys out there know one in the state of Texas that will go with me, I'll buy them a steak dinner. I'll buy them lunch. I'll pay for the gas. Hell, I don't care. I'll pick them up to go in with me so that if these people try to throw me out or deny me the right to address this situation and to demand that they secure my state and my safety in my state, that they will be arrested for aiding and abetting tyranny, okay, or the enemy. So, with that said, that's what I intend to do. But let me tell you what Miss Belton did, or Miss White did. Molly White, freshman state representative, is not in Austin. This is an article written today, or yesterday. This is not in Austin today to celebrate Texas Muslim Capital Day. She left instructions for her staff in her Capitol office on how to handle visitors who are including asking them to declare allegiance to the United States. She said, I did leave an Israeli flag on the reception desk in my office with instructions to staff to ask representatives from the Muslim community to renounce Islamic terrorist groups and publicly announce allegiance to America and our laws. She posted on Facebook, we will see how long they stay in my office. Texas Muslim Capital Day, which began in 2003, is organized by the Texas chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations. That's CARE, by the way. These are the cockroaches that have been deemed, not deemed, but declared. Let's put it for what it is. Declared terrorist organization. This is who sponsored what happened yesterday, and this is who was in our capital. And this is to bring relations and members of the Muslim communities in Houston, Dallas, there it is, Houston, there it is, and other areas of the state to the capital to learn about the political process and meet the state lawmakers. Texas has the 8th largest Muslim population in the whole friggin' country, people. I'm talking to you, patriots. You need to hear what I'm saying, okay? Texas has the 8th largest Muslim population in the entire United States, with more than 420,000 of those cockroach terrorist bastards in my state. That's huge. Residing here. According to estimates from the Texas State Historical Association, okay, it's probably many more than that because we all know what they did at the border and we know that they were pouring in through the border. This is just an estimated number that the government has given us, which is generally inflated or deflated for political purposes. Anyway, it's almost never the right number. I can guarantee it. Anyway, even before participants in Thursday's event, about 100 Muslims, mostly children, could get to lawmakers' offices. They encountered opposition from a group of about 25 protesters outside the Capitol holding signs. One said radical Islam is the new Nazi. Another said go home and take Obama with you. The Muslim group held a press conference on the south steps of the Capitol where one of the protesters yanked the microphone from an event organizer, shouting, Islam will never dominate the United States by the grace of God. It will not dominate Texas, at which point they rough-armed her and led her away. I watched the video. God bless you. Ma'am, I want you on my show. Not only do I want you on my show, I want to buy you dinner. All As the group of Muslims continued the event by singing the Star-Spangled Banner, the interruptions persisted, with the protesters yelling, "Islam is a lie and no Sharia here." Mustafa Carroll, that's that pig that runs the Texas chapter for CARE, the terrorist that was in Garland, this is him. He was one of the speakers at the Garland event. Mustafa Carroll, the executive director of the Houston chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, that's CARE, by the way, called the behavior very frustrating. Carroll said this was the first year protesters actually showed up since Muslim Capital Day began. And this is why, because they never let anybody know it was happening. The only ones that were privy to that information was the Muslim community and our treasonous bastards that have been running through our Congress up there in the state of Texas. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not good with that, okay? I'm concerned with the state leaders and what they say. I'm more concerned with the state leaders and what they say than I am about anybody else because they are the lawmakers. This is his statement. The Council on American Islamic Relations has sent a letter to House Speaker Joe Strauss asking whether Ms. White had violated ethics rules by instructing her staff to ask Muslim visitors to her office to declare their allegiance to the United States. I'm going to stop right there before I finish the article. Is anybody else pissed off? Just raise your hand. Let me know. Is anybody else pissed off? Bobby, are you angry about this? I mean, I know it's not your state, brother, but...
Well, you know what? I think we got to kind of clarify something, because somebody did bring up a good point to me earlier, and that being my wife. We're not saying all Muslims are terrorists. Please, by no means are we saying that. But
you may not be, sir, but I am.
But wait, the ones that are for Sharia law, absolutely. Okay?
Let me explain something. Let me explain something. Wait. Let me just explain something because we're going to have a different opinion here, and I want to clarify why I make my statement. I've read the Quran.
Okay.
I know the hadith. And anybody that claims to be a Muslim lives by Sharia law in their own household. They live for it, breathe for it, they believe it. It is the law that rules over them. It is a huge part of their doctrine. And I would invite anybody to prove differently. I would invite that.
Well, you know what? I agree with you then. Anybody that agrees with Sharia law, to me, is a person that's in the wrong. They're for all the wrong reasons.
Yes, sir. If they say, I am Muslim, what they're saying to you is that Allah is their God, Muhammad is their prophet, and the Quran is the gospel. And they live by that. The only time that, listen, it's called jihad. They lie like a mother bitch, okay? They're liars. There's 4 different methods of lies and deception in which they live by the rules to use in order to complete the agenda and caliphate, to complete jihad. They will look at you and smile at you and act like they're your friend, but nobody out there that has read the Quran and the Hadith is gonna say that I'm wrong. They're gonna say, Becky, you're absolutely right, and it's by lack of knowledge that my people shall perish, and that is God's word. So don't be ignorant by lack of knowledge. When you make a statement like that, be able to refute it, be able to debate it, and absolutely stand behind it with solid evidence. I have my evidence. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
No, you're there. But see, I just want people to understand. Okay, I'm not against Muslims. All Muslims, but anybody that stands up for Sharia law, I'm against. So if they stand for Sharia law, that means that they're against me and they're against our government and everything else. That's the only thing I got to say. So if that's the case, then so be it. Then so be it.
Yeah, because here's the deal, and this is the absolute truth. Anybody that wants to doubt what I'm saying, quit being lazy. Pick up a Quran, go get you a copy. Hell, you can probably get one off the internet and not have to buy one. Go read it. Read the scripture. Look at history. Watch what's unfolding. Study their economics. study the logistics of their theology, because it's not a religion. That's a farce. They've lived under the guises of a religion in order to have a foothold legally for many different purposes. But until you read it, until you understand it, until you've spoken to a Coptic Christian who's truly converted, really you shouldn't make statements that you can't back up, because all you're doing is stating opinion. You're not stating knowledge. You're not standing on truth. You're misguiding people, and you're putting people in danger that are stupid enough to take you at your word without proof. And that includes anybody take me at my word without proof. I always invite people to study. I always invite them to do their own research, and I always invite them back to say, hey, Becky, this is what I found. You were wrong. And if I'm wrong, and I have been more than once, I will apologize. But on this, I am not. On this, I am not. For 3 years, I've studied emphatically. I have studied. I have spoken to people that were Muslims that have truly become Coptic Christians. They haven't used taqiyya. They understand the dangers, and I have done my homework. So for 3 years, I've done this because everybody out there that's listened to me before understands that what actually got me involved in politics and got me motivated was Common Core brainwashing my grandbabies, and I'm not good with it. And I found out it came out of Islam from the UN. It was globally implemented, and now they're teaching your children in the public school system about the pillars of Islam and how friendly these people are, when it states clearly in the book of Quran, section 8, chapter 8, verse 12, to strike terror in the hearts of the non-believer or the unbeliever. And then the instruction in the Quran is to kill the infidel and the non-believer. They convert or die. And it's to live and be ruled under Sharia law, where they cut your hand off if you steal. If a woman is raped, she is murdered. They call it an honor killing. She's raped. And she has to have 4 or 5 witnesses step up to the plate for her and defend her. But the 4 or 5 witnesses never step up and defend her because they, too, will be killed. They stone them. They rape children. We had an imam globally that just recently stated it's okay to have relations with a baby over the age of 9 months. Really? They practice bestiality? It says so in the Quran that they can do it. They can have sex with their dead wife. It states in the Quran that dead woman has not left her obligation to tend to the needs of her husband. That he, in fact, can still have sex with the dead body. These people are sick. This is their doctrine. It is an evil, demonic cult that uses deception and has taken over the globe right now, and we're seeing the end results in places like France and Sweden and Australia and the UK, and now right here in the USA. And they're given diplomatic immunity. We had a beheading on the coast. The woman had gotten a cell phone, this Muslim woman, and her husband beheaded her in their residence right here in the USA. This happened 4 years ago. You can look it up. And the bastard was not even tried. He had diplomatic immunity. That meant the license to kill and to live under his Sharia law as he saw fit to live under it, because she had dishonored him by having communication with anyone else without his permission. It was a direct violation of Sharia law concerning the wife's duty and obedience to her husband. He could have beaten her, but he chose not to, because it also says he can kill her. So with that said, I'll leave it at that. So at the end of the day, we've got this Muslim pig, Mr. Carroll, who heads up the Texas chapter of CARE. And he is approaching our lawmaker, our Speaker of the House, because he wants her drawn up on ethics charges. So he wants to see if, in fact, he can accomplish this. This is one of the many ways that Islam steps in and they get their little foot in the door and they try to use our own laws against us. First of all, just so happened it was only Muslims in the House that day. Okay? And second of all, if you're going to live in the country, your allegiance should be to our country, and you should adhere to our laws. See, if I go to your land, I have to follow the law of your country or suffer the consequences. It's that way all over the world. But these cockroaches move into every nation, and they decide how they want to live and by what laws they're going to be ruled by, and they ignore the law of the land. They speak this at the podium, inside the mosque. There's videos about it with imams talking about it. You can look it up. I'm not pulling this out of my ass. I didn't just find it out of opinion. These are facts. So, with that said, I want my Texans within earshot of me right here, and even people across the country, to back up Miss White, to assure Miss White that we are behind her, and to let the Ethics Committee and these crooked bastards that keep showing up for Muslim Day at the White House, because they seem to be the only religious group that has a particular day at my Capitol. You know, they call themselves a religion, but they get a day because they're Muslim. You know, there's no Black African American Day. There's no White Day. There's no Christian Day. Go ahead.
All right, let me ask you a question, okay? Because we kind of have a little bit of a difference, okay? And I've gotten messages from a couple different people saying, okay, and they're asking the question, why do you feel that every Muslim is a bad person, is a bad Muslim when...
Jesus Christ, I just told him. I just told them, do your homework. I just told them. It's in their doctrine. I just explained it. All they have to do is... No. I need them to
but don't get aggravated. Don't get aggravated.
I'm not angry. I'm just saying I just told them why. Okay. I just told them why. You know, the Bible even says...
everybody's in agreement with you about the No White Day. Everybody says the same damn thing, and we've talked about it. You and I've talked about it for how long? And when is that thing going on that they're going to have the where it's going to be Caucasian Day or whatever, and they're going to have that event going on? Do you remember?
Well, I know in February we've got an event. It's going to be a 3-day event where you're going to camp out. We're just going to, if we can, inundate Austin with patriots. I mean, look, I don't have a lot of faith in that. I'll tell you why, because we can't get patriots off their ass to do anything if there's not a meal attached to it or a celebrity, okay? And that's sad. That is sad because it just is. I'm sorry, but it is. Listen, I'd show up if I had to be the only one there. The reason I was not there yesterday is because I worked well into the hours of the morning until 5 a.m. trying to find a legal solution to our issues in Texas. And that, my friend, is fact. And, Jim, I believe I have you on the line. Jim, what time did we finally end the roundtable call with our judge?
I'm here, Becky. Yes, ma'am. I'm here. It is 6:22.
No, when did we cut off our call the other night with Judge Reed?
Oh my goodness, Becky! It was such a great call. Yes, and I have it recorded. But yes, it was outstanding.
But it was a late call.
Yeah, you know what? I like their show. I like that show.
Yeah, when we Bank versus you in the round table, it was a great show. And Judge Reed was supposed to be on our show that day and was unable to be on our show because he lost his cell phone at a location where they were. And when he finally got it back, he did text me. I did talk to him. And then I called Jim immediately, and I said, I got to get this guy on. We need him at the round table. You have some resources that we're going to need. And Jim hooked us up, and we got on it right away. And we did a rather lengthy show, and he gave tons of information about what we need to do and what we're going to do. And then he reached out to Jim, and Jim's putting him in touch with some attorneys that can help him get this proposal for addition to an amendment, the Sixth Amendment in the Texas State Constitution, showing with evidence in the documents where this is a violation of the Constitution, church and state, yada, yada, yada. They came in as an arbitrary Sharia court, and that's how they got away with being able to establish it. That's what they do. They have a methodology. They have a method, a theology as to how they break the system down using our own laws against us. And every nation, do your homework. Anybody's listening, go look it up. It's there. And there are people in those other countries that would be happy to talk to you about what's going on in their country. They're all over Facebook. You can find them. Go to the English Defense League, the Australian Defense League. Look up people that tell you what's going on, and it's what they're doing right here in America. The thing is, they have to take Texas before they take any other state or they take our nation, okay? Texas is huge for many reasons, resources, economy, the power grid, oil and gas, import, export, Gulf, you name it, shipping industry, we've got it. We're it. We're it. And we're huge. And we're the most populated now. We're no longer the second in the country. We're now the most populated state in America. So they have to take us. So they are doing that diligently. They are doing that, and they're using our own laws against us to establish things that should not be in place. See, this would be like me going over to their country, and it's ruled by Sharia law, and I decide I want a democratic or Republican way, a republic way of being ruled over. That would mean I could go against all their Sharia law, and they couldn't do shit about it. I could do whatever I want to, and their Sharia law doesn't mean shit to me. I'm above the law of their land. I'm only going to serve the purpose of my life and my obedience to the laws from the nation I come from. So if I
that's what a lot of people don't understand, Becky. A lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand that if they implement the Sharia law, that's saying that your laws don't mean shit to me, and I'm going to do what I want, and I'm going to make my own rules, and I don't have to listen to what you're saying, and I don't have to follow by any of your rules, and so on and so forth.
You're right. And that's what is so disturbing to me, because that's the first part of it. You see, they've gotten in enough for our judicial system, for our government to say, and it's not just in Texas, folks, it's all over. It's all over the country. It's probably in your state. It's in Oklahoma. They've been doing it for 3 or 4 years in Oklahoma. There's a couple of places that they're living under Sharia law, and they deal with their own issues with their own citizens. Now, that should really disturb you, because what they're saying is they're separating themselves from, they're using the status to gain all the benefits, but they refuse for their citizens, for their Muslims, to have to deal with our municipal courts in an issue, let's just say a domestic issue, or to deal in our courts concerning a business issue. You see, where we have to, they do not. There is no inheritance tax separation, because under Sharia law, they suffer no taxation. So there are private bills that have already been put in place. You can look them up. I'll post them up when I get back on Facebook. Private bills, understand what a private bill is first, look that up, and then go to private bills, and then I'm going to show you the private bills specifically for the Muslim population. No taxation on business, no personal taxation, no taxation on property, and no interest on any money. In other words, they're buying property for pennies on the dollar, and they're not suffering interest. And then, so what happens is our government gives them all this money. They come over here, they get all these freebies. They're living on welfare benefits. At the same time, they've been given, $500,000 million to open up a convenience store that's got a gas tank or gas pump attached to it that they're not paying taxes on. It's the highest tax that we have to pay as a consumer in this country. But they're selling the gas, and they're reaping benefits off the taxation on that, because they're not being taxed by the government for their business. You get it? So now they have all this liquid money. And today, the only thing they're out is operating costs. Their utilities and things of that nature, that's all they're out. That's it, period. Penny, that's done. Everything else is gravy to them. So they're experiencing a 40 to 60% growth in their own personal income, where other people that might own a business are suffering a 40% tax at a rate of 40% taxes that they're paying out of their business. And so that money's coming out of pocket. After operating expenses, now they're having to pay the tax man every quarter. So here's how they do it. They get all these businesses. That's why they look around down every damn convenience store on every corner. They're starting to buy up all the fast food businesses, down the hotels, the taxi cabs, the limousine services, and now many corporations. They're all over the medical industry, the medical device industry. They've got their hands in pharmaceutical. Obama appointed them to NASA. I could go on and on and on and on and on, but I'm just being redundant. So at the end of the day, they take this money. They're making all this money because you're stupid enough to go into the convenience store and Muhammad's smiling at you and he's your friend. He's that moderate Muslim that the government you gave your children's prosperity to, their right to thrive and prosper in their country, the American dream, the business to grow up and not have to work for someone else. They've already given that all away to them. They get it automatically when they come into this country. If you don't believe me, look it up. Do your homework. That's all I can say because I've spent hundreds of hours looking it up. So they come in, they make all this money. So Muhammad's made about $400,000 or $500,000 off of you in the first quarter to the half of the year, and all that money's liquid because he's already paid his operating expenses. He doesn't owe anybody anything for giving him a business because that was free money. He's only hiring his family, so there's no job opportunity or growth there for anybody outside of the Muslims in the first 3 years or 5 years of that business. Until they get so big, they're forced to hire an American. And there you have it, folks. That's how they're building the mosque. That's how they go buy $400,000, $300,000 home while you are out here busting your ass for an 80-hour week just to pay for the cost of your insurance for your family and to pay the taxes that you're being taxed and to pay your utilities that are high and cost of food that is out the roof. Meanwhile, Muhammad over here still got his EBT card. Muhammad over here got a car program when he came in. Muhammad over here gets free everything. Muhammad over here gets to take your money, smile at you because you're a dumbass infidel, doesn't know any different, and think he's your friend, and you're financing Muhammad, who is sending money back to the terrorists on top of building the mosque that the imam is preaching jihad in. And the political parties like terror that are going into your capitals, taking your lawmakers who are so spineless that for a friggin' dollar they'd sell their own mother, and they're putting laws in specifically for them like these private bills where they get no taxation and they don't suffer like we do by the extortion of the cabal and the bank. When we go in and try to mortgage a home that's worth $100,000, and at the end of the day, you don't pay your damn taxes on it because you can't pay your bills because the economy sucks, and Obama's created Obamacare. Now you lost your 40 hours and you got 35 hours. Now you're looking for a second job and you can't find one because of the damn infiltration coming through the border from these illegal sons of bitches that are now taking on part-time jobs and the full-time jobs because now we have a language barrier because. And I'm raging. You know, all this shit, I wish I could wake up, brother, and not have all this knowledge. I do.
See, what a lot of people don't realize also is Muslims come in every race. Okay?
Uh-huh.
They don't just have to be, from Iran or Iraq or, from
right.
Libya or anywhere. I mean, there's white Muslims, there's black Muslims, there's Spanish Muslims. I mean, it's not a race. It's a religion.
It's a cult. It's what it is.
Well,
it's a
you can say
cult.
that also, but
hell yeah.
It's
sad. It's friggin' sad. What other religion do you know says you can screw your dead wife? What other religion do you know says that you can marry and have sex with it? What other religion do you know that it says in the doctrine you can screw a goat and it's okay? What other religion chops people's heads off, takes over regions and wants to dominate the freaking world and oppress them under a Sharia law that is barbaric and demonic?
Right. Well,
sorry,
that's the thing that I got a problem with okay, that a lot of people don't really understand about Muslims, okay? You can lie to people about your beliefs because what it's doing, it's swaying somebody, to make them think that you're a good person. They don't know the whole insides of Muslims, okay?
Look,
and like Becky was saying, you could rape your wife, you can beat them, you could do all types of stuff, and there's nothing will be done to them if Sharia law is implemented.
Correct. It's their duty. You know what actually states in there? It's their duty to beat their wife. It is a man's duty. It's his duty. Not even just a right, it's his duty, Bobby, to beat his wife. She cannot even speak unless he tells her she can, and if she does, he will beat the living shit right out of her in public or at home. I pulled up in front of a Walgreens right before Christmas. We were doing some last-minute shopping. I pulled up by Walgreens by this UTA. I live 5 minutes from the University of Texas in Arlington, which is just full of Muslim students. Free money, free money, free money. But anyway, I pull up and there's this man out there, and there's a woman in a burqa, and she's much younger than him, right? And it's obvious that she's sick, she's been crying or something. Her eyes are red, her nose is red. And he is just giving her what for, and he steps up on her like he's going to hit her. And I pulled up about that same time, and he's running his mouth at her. And I looked at him, I said, oh, man, I'll put you in a fucking box. You hear me? Don't do it. I don't give a shit what your fucking religion is. If you strike that woman in front of me, I'm going to break your fucking neck. And he looked at me. I said, man, I ain't playing with you. I have every capability. I know how to do it, and I'm more than capable. I will break your fucking neck if you hit her. He went in the store. She looked at me, and she had fear in her eyes, and she went back to the taxi cab. He's a taxi driver. And then she left the taxi, and she went back into the store. And when I walked back in the store, that man did not even look at me. I said, this is America, bitch. This is not the Middle East. I don't care where you're from. Do not put your hands on her in front of me.
It's sad, it's really sad, how they live their lives. I mean, I've read all the stuff that, has been sent to me. Shai Townsend has sent me stuff. You've sent me stuff. A lot of people have sent me stuff about, their whole, about the deception and, the lying and, just to be able to sway people and, and the whole thing. And to me, I know some Muslims. I have some friends of mine that were Muslims, or they are Muslims, I should say, not were Muslims, that are Muslims. And, I know they don't live their lives like that. They wouldn't be the kind of person that would beat on their wife and all that type of stuff. But see, if you go by, the way that they can lie to people and stuff, how do you know that they're not living two different lives? I don't know. You know what I mean? I just know that I have friends. Well, I just know that I have friends that are Muslims. It's their choice, to practice that faith. And, before all this really started striking home, nobody really knew who they were. We've always known it to be a peaceful religion. You know what I mean? We never knew all this stuff about them.
I did. I actually did. And the only reason I did, to be honest, because our government always made us think that it was the ones overseas, that the ones they brought here were good and kind people, and they were just looking to prosper, and they brought them over here in a refugee status. It's bullshit. What we now know to be a fact, because of the study that we've done, the homework we've done, and what we're seeing unfold before our very eyes, in the White House, in our military, in the DHS, fuck people, pardon my language, damn people, really, seriously. You have to ask me when you're watching this shit unfold, seriously, how blind can an individual be? But at the end of the day, we did not know that. The only reason I did is because I did know some Muslims who had converted and I had long conversation. And I knew they were truly converted because they worship God with all their heart. And they're there.
Right.
They're there in the church. They're preaching His word. They're testifying to Christ's love. And otherwise I wouldn't believe them now. I would be like, no, you're a liar. I know you're lying to me, and it's to deceive me and get your foot in the door. But what our government is doing is they're using them to break the economy, break us, and the rewards that they received ahead of time is the payment for the duties that they're going to be expected to do in the end time. Does that make any sense to you? Now, anybody that's read the Bible fully understands what I just said. These are the devil's minions. These are the foot soldiers for the New World Order. For centuries, they have proven that they will be the most barbaric killing machine ever known to man. They've established that by slaughtering millions, hundreds of millions. And that's just an estimate. There'll never be a full body count. They kill their own. For Christ's sake. Bobby, if your sister got raped, would you go kill her because she got raped?
If what?
If your sister got raped, let me put it different. If your daughter, one of your daughters got raped or your granddaughters got raped, would you kill her for being raped?
No.
Okay. Most likely you would go.
Wait, I don't know if I heard you right. Say it again. Say it one more time. If your daughter or your granddaughter was raped, would you kill her because she was raped? Would I kill her?
Yes.
No. Why would I kill my own kid?
There you go. That's actually in the Quran. It's called an honor killing. They kill her.
Well, see, now I know that because I have read that. Okay, I have read that. You know what? I hear you back there, Keith. Maybe, well, at least it sounds like you, Keith. Is that Keith on board?
Keith's on board.
I'm here.
I got his mic open. I've just been running my head so long that nobody can speak. I apologize.
Okay, you know what? Let's give out the phone number. 929-477-3565. That's 929-477-3565. No way by any chance would I ever kill my kid for anything like that. Even if it was in my laws, I would never. And I'm going to tell you right now, I would probably kill the person that told me to kill my daughter.
There you go. And rightfully so. Yeah. Keith, you're biblically knowledgeable. You're knowledgeable and versed in biblical knowledge. Brother, let me ask you a question. The last statement I made about if you understand that they're the foot soldiers, they're being compensated now for the end time. Sir, let me ask you a question. You've read Revelations. Do you think I'm accurate with that statement?
Well, the whole argument goes is not in Revelation. The whole argument is it's a doctrication, which means it's a battle within our mind. Okay, and then what you get into what we call spiritual warfare.
You're correct.
And
we will wrestle not with flesh and bone, but with what?
Well, the thing is, well, right, but what I'm trying to get is not by power, it's not by strength, but it's by my spirit, says the Lord.
Amen.
It says it all right there.
Yeah, there you have it. So for the folks that had any questions, damn, Bobby, just tell them to call in. I'll talk to them. I want to tackle them. I'll engage in an intelligent conversation. Folks, when I'm raging because I'm angry. I'm not angry with you. I'm angry at our situation. I do need to clarify that because I tend to go off on a tangent. Yeah. We are in serious poo-poo.
I agree. Can I make a comment to you, Becky?
Sir.
I wish I would float closer. I'd be down there, not take up your offer. But if I would be down there with you, let's just say it this way. They think about taking and throwing you out. They take me. They have a whole lot of fight that they wouldn't want to get into.
I hear you, brother. I know that.
Because they can't touch me unless they verify who they are. Because of my disability. Okay. B is because you'd be my driver.
Yeah, I would.
And you don't want to start with that one. Okay?
Uh-uh.
And C, they don't want to get into the disability part of it. Part of it.
Well,
I mean, literally, they could not even take us out. I mean, we could sit there and argue with them. All they could do is sit there and listen. They couldn't even touch us.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
By law.
Because we've girded ourselves up with the knowledge. Micah is not going to be on the call. She just told me she's got a grandbaby. I'll get her on another day. I really wanted someone who was down in Austin to come on and talk to us. But at the end of the day, I am.
Bring her on your show tomorrow.
But at the end of the day, brothers and sisters that are listening, please understand this one thing. I come off rather harsh, and I do it because I think at this point in the game, Bobby and Keith and Jim understand this about me because we are more closely related. I interact with these gentlemen pretty regularly, and we've had many discussions off air about certain situations and information that we exchange with one another, and we vet this information, and we do our research on it, and then we present the information to the public. I mean, it's not about just plugging in and doing a show and blowing steam. It's about knowing what the hell you're talking about and being able to back it up or validate your claim, on that impartation. That at the end of the day, here's my situation. I believe, first of all, we're all adults. I'm nobody's mother, at least in this group. I am a mother, but not in this group. I'm nobody's mother. I'm everybody's sister. That's who I am. I love you all, and I'll die for each and every one of you. And anybody that doubts that, I don't know what to tell you. But that's who I am. I'll stand up to bear for a stranger. I don't have to know you to be compassionate enough to try to move you out of harm's way because it's just who I am. It's how God made me. But at the end of the day, we're all adults. And I can no longer continue to sit back and watch complacency and laziness of a bunch of people who just want to sit down and claim to be a patriot because they oppose what's going on, but they refuse to take action. And I'm very irritated and aggravated about it. And it is projected when I get on here and I rage. It's nothing personal. And nobody's an idiot. It's not that I have so much knowledge I'm greater than anybody. It's I have so much knowledge I wish I didn't know, and I have to let it out, and I have to impart that knowledge to you people. And Bobby has given me that vehicle to do that, and I love you, brother, for that. I do. You're my hero. Because Bobby had already established a platform, and I had a reputation in running for office. I'm no longer running for office, and now I don't have to bite my tongue. When I tell the truth, I can tell it as I see fit without decorum. But I don't mean to offend anybody when I'm on here. I would invite a Muslim to come on and talk to me and prove me wrong because I'll get the Quran out and I'll refute or debate any lie that they would like to bring to the table. I mean, I'll go that far. I'll do whatever it takes.
Just as long as it isn't that crazy guy from Canada. That crazy Muslim from Canada that just goes ape shit every time he gets on the damn microphone somewhere.
Yeah,
you know who I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. And my point is this. I know you think they're your friend, but I'm going to give you some words of wisdom. And these are not my words. These are God's words. He said, be careful. There will be wolves in sheep's clothing, and they'll even be at the pulpit in your own church, okay? I don't just pick on Muslims. I pick on anybody that is evil and has ulterior motives for doing what they do that cause grief, pain, suffering, or otherwise to another person. I pick on all of them. I don't even care what color or what country or what church. I'll pick on a pastor as quick as I'll pick on a bizarre if he's a bad man, and I know it. So my deal is this. God said this. He said, be careful. So you entertain, be be alert. And it said, they will have eyes and they will not see, and they'll have ears and they'll not hear.
Mm-hmm.
And those people that refuse to read the Quran still think Muhammad's their friend, or Ali, or whoever the hell it is, Jamakwa, whatever. You still think they're your friend. They're going to be your friend until the alarm bell rings and they have established complete control over your finances, your economics, your universities, your children have turned against you because they now believe that jihad fighters are freedom fighters. That's what they were taught at school. There is no other God but Allah. Christ doesn't exist as your Lord and Savior. Once they've taken the eternal soul of your child, and the people stupid enough to convert to Islam, they're coming with a vengeance. This is the devil's army. And you can either believe what I'm saying and pick it up and prove me wrong and say I don't need to believe you. Okay? You pick it up, look it up, do a little bit of homework, quit being lazy. Or you can continue to be ignorant, and Muhammad, your friend, is going to hold your feet while his brother cuts your friggin' head off when the bell goes off. Okay? Because they're here to dominate the country and take you under Sharia law. Go ahead, brother.
Becky, can I make one last comment to you with that idea?
Uh-huh.
That's real simple. You'll know them by their fruit.
Yes, sir.
Do I need to say anything more?
You're right. And that was the scripture where Christ went by and cursed the fig tree. Right there, he cursed it. When he came back the next day, the tree had withered and died. And what he was speaking of was metaphorically speaking. He was talking about the fruit from the tree of the spirit of man. Am I correct or wrong? Look what they do. Look where they come from, people. And I'm upset about it in Texas, and I cannot coexist with them. This is the Bible Belt. This is a huge conquer for them. If Satan can take the Bible Belt, he can take everything. This is the Bible Belt. I have no callers calling in. I probably ran them off because I was ranting and raving, and I hurt their little feelings because I told them they were lazy. But, truth sucks sometimes. You better take a look in the mirror. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Check yourself. And ask yourself if you can look your children, your family in the eye at the end of the day and know that you've done everything you could possibly do to assure that they will not fall underneath that. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that stung, didn't it?
Well, I'll throw something, man. It makes it very clear you cannot serve two masters. If you serve two masters, it's going to fall. Okay?
And it doesn't matter
I'll take
what
it for one more.
You're right, and it doesn't matter what that master is, brother, because it can come in all forms. It can come in greed, lust, money, possessions, obsessions. It doesn't matter what it is. You cannot serve two masters. Only one master can be put first.
Yep. What I was going to say, though, is one master, you can build your house with a sand. It'll be 15. They'll never stand. Or you can build a house with a rock.
Well, I will tell you this. I do have a plan outside of what I'm doing politically and legally with the judge and these attorneys to demand with a clause for expedience to introduce and to pass an amendment that will cut the hand of Sharia law off in the judicial system here in the state of Texas. If we get this done, and we expect that we will, because they're going to understand that we know exactly what's been done. It goes against the Constitution. It is a breach of the Constitution in many degrees, not just one, concerning Sharia law. We're going to go ahead and kick the hell out of Muslims right in the gonad with that one. And the lawmakers will understand that they will be held accountable for treason if they do not cease and desist the assistance to the enemy of the state. Period. Period. Dot. Exclamation point. We have some other things that we're going to do they're always legal. I don't do anything illegal. I'm not calling for everybody to pick up your weapon and go kill a Muslim. I'm not saying that. I want to clarify that. I'm not calling for a revolution. I'm calling for resolution. And the only way we can get a resolution is if you people get off your ass, get out of your house, and be where you need to be so that we can make an impact and our lawmakers understand that we will not stand for it. We are coming for them. We will remove them, and we will put them in jail, and they will be held accountable for the things they are doing outside of the law.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I'm not playing. Now, a handful of us cannot do this. We cannot accomplish this by ourselves. This is something that is going to take a collective effort. One can put 1,000 to flight. Two can put tens of thousands to flight. Imagine what thousands can put to flight. That's biblical. That's God's word.
Yep.
So it's going to take an army of us to get off our asses, get out of our comfort zone, quit making excuses. I can't take off work. I bet if you had Super Bowl tickets, you'd bust your ass to get to the Super Bowl. I bet if you had concert tickets and the concert was at 12 o'clock and it was your favorite artist ever in the whole world, I bet you'd miss work that day. You know who I'm talking to because you're going, what a bitch. You know who I'm talking to. You make every excuse in the world why you can't show up. It's too far. I don't have a ride. Buddy ride. Carpool. I don't have enough gas money. Carpool. I don't have enough money to eat when I get there.
And then when the money's given to them, they still don't show up.
Thank you. I'm tired of the excuses. There is nothing more important than you saving your state, because I'm going to tell you something at the end of the friggin' day, because you would not sacrifice what you needed to sacrifice in order to save the country for your kids and for your family, and to assure that we remove the root of the problem in this country and the dangers that have been put upon us with intention by our own government. If you don't do it, that job you're trying to hold on to, guess what? It's not going to be there anyway. And your children are going to die. They're going to die at the hand of a devil's minion that's kicking your door in, burning your house down, Sharia law, martial law, whatever law is coming. Believe me, it's real. They're going to die. So when you go home and look your sweet little baby right in the face tonight, you better think about what the hell you're really doing. Is it sitting around bitching in a boys' club or a little social program on the internet and that's all you ever do? Are you out there painting a target on your forehead telling the government, I'm not afraid of you, and I'm going to tell you what, but you need to fear me because I'm going to remove your power. You need to fear me because I'm going to hold your feet to the fire and I'm going to make you accountable. Get me? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, I know the guys on the call do because they're here every day. I'm talking to the audience. You know, I may be controversial. I may not use the forum, and my eloquence is lacking. But I tell the truth, by God. I tell the truth.
You ain't from West Virginia. You can't say by God.
Okay, I won't. But you know what I'm saying? I'm just feeding them some, little shit sandwich because they've been sucking on points all day with sugar-coated shit,
Well, you know what? Let's kind of steer away from that. Let's kind of steer away from that because we've been on that for quite a while now. So,
well, what do you want to talk about? I don't have a problem. Let's change subject.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, I mean, if you want to stay on it, that's fine. I mean, I'm just.
No,
there's
I'm
a
beating
lot
it
more
to
stuff.
death. Yeah, beating it to death, brother. I change the subject. Hell, I'll go all day.
Beating
man.
it to death. It's dead, man. You're dragging it. It's already dead. You're dragging it down the road.
Shit, I'm hoping pieces will fling off in somebody's eye and they'll catch a hint. But go ahead, brother. We do have a lot more things going on. But at the end of the day, I will wrap it up like this. People stand behind this lady out of Belton. Do not let them call her in and drag her out on the carpet for ethics violation. There was none. This is what they do. So don't let it happen, because if it happens here, it's going to happen in your state. It's going to happen in your county. It's going to happen all over this country if we allow them to continue to do what they're doing and use their own laws against us. In the subject, I'll drop the Muslim shit, because when I get off of here, I'm going to have to drink a beer and go beat up a punching bag. Next subject, Bobby. We've got some other things that are going on. We have a 3-day event that's going to be happening in Austin. I don't know what's going on with the White History Month. I really haven't talked to Roxy. I was supposed to speak at that event. We had a parting of ways between sponsors and other groups that were involved in that. So I had some people ask me earlier if I had information on that. For those of you listening out there, I do not. I will get with Roxy or Bill Hobart and try to find out what's going on, or William with Take America Back, and find out what's going on with that. I lined up some guest speakers and some musicians for that event. So it's on ice right now. I really don't know what's going on. Hey, Bobby, is Tom Luciu coming back on the show?
Yeah, Tom will be on Monday.
Okay, so Monday at what time?
Well, he's gonna confirm on Saturday if he's going to be on Monday, but most likely when he called me today, he called me on his lunch break. I talked to him for like 5 minutes or something, and he told me that he's going to let me know Sunday, but I believe he said there's like a 90% chance that he's going to be on Monday.
Let me
so
ask
probably
you
like
question.
Probably like a 4:30 show, something like that.
Okay, there was someone else that you were telling me, and I can't remember off the top of my head, somebody big that you were going to bring on the show.
Michael Lynch. Right,
Michael Lynch, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, Dennis Michael Lynch, DML.
And
I'm actually... Huh?
Tell the listeners what you told me earlier.
What do you mean?
About him, about Michael Lynch. You had reached out.
Oh, Dennis Michael Lynch. This was yesterday. That's why I'm wondering what you're talking about. Dennis Michael Lynch, when he went to the Iowa Fest, he was actually asked to leave the Iowa Fest because he got up out of his seat, did some walking around, and he was actually signing autographs and, taking pictures with people. When he got back to his seat, the coordinators came up to him with 4 security guards and asked him to leave, and he was trying to figure out why, and they made him leave, and I guess he got into it with the same senator that Manny Vega got into it with when he marched into his office.
Oh, wow.
So... yeah.
Speaking of Manny Vega, did you see where Manny gave one of his medals to Bundy?
Yes, to the Bundys. Yes, to Mr. Bundy himself. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. I saw that. I was like blown away by that. I don't remember what medal it was, but I was reading a little bit about that earlier today before I got completely inundated with so much to do, and then I had the show coming up. And when I get off here, I'm not going to get a beer and go beat the bag. My godson has a basketball game tonight, so I'm going to be a little bit late for his game, but I'll be there.
Well, you know what? We've got good news also, though. On February 2nd, February 2nd is going to be Chris Kyle Day in Texas. Governor Abbott has declared it.
Woo! How about that one? With all the controversy around his film, Bobby, the Chris Kyle story, what is it, American Sniper is the name of the movie? With all the controversy that we've had, the fact that Abbott stepped up and did that, I just want to go rub the top of his head where it's bald and, like a little genie doll and go, good job, buddy. Seriously. Right. I can't believe you did that.
That's my son's birthday, so I'm really happy about that. I mean, that day's going to mean a lot, for 2 different reasons. But
I never thought about it that way. It is. It's the little guy's birthday. We're going to be looking for him on those Calvin Klein boards in about 20 years, aren't we? He's going to be a model, you guys. He's going to be a model. Go ahead, Bobby. I'm going to brag about him in a minute.
We're hoping.
This kid is so friggin' cute. Listen, for the listeners that don't know and have not seen his son is absolutely friggin' gorgeous. He's adorable. And he's you can see his mom. Your wife is a beautiful woman. You can see his mom in him, and you can see Bobby. And Bobby's a good-looking guy. You know, he's my brother, but he's a handsome man. I'm going to go ahead and say you're handsome, Bobby. I don't mean anything by it. I'm just making an observation. But they made the most beautiful baby. And he had an audition yesterday with, what was it, Kohl's department store, Bobby?
Yeah, a couple of days ago for Kohl's, yes.
Yeah. I'm so excited for him. I think that's awesome. I really do. So hopefully we'll have a little celebrity coming up out of the Ritter household. But he's got personality plus. This kid is amazing, and he's bright. God, he's smart. And I'm just making an observation from going on your page. You posted a family picture one day, and I looked at the page, and I looked at the picture, and I think you had a couple times, a video or something on there that I looked at. And he's just a ham. He's a pistol. Good job, Dad. You're doing a great job. Keep doing what you're doing. We do have Chris Kyle Day coming up. That's going to be a very important day. We held the Chris Kyle Memorial right here at the football stadium for the Dallas Cowboys here in Arlington, and we had 100,000 plus crowd that showed up for his memorial, and then of course they drove his body quite a distance and had banners up along the way and fire trucks and ladders and police escort when they buried him. So that was pretty amazing. That was an amazing day, and it was a sad day, but it was an amazing day. There's some other things that are going on out there as well that are of concern. Of course, we've got Mr. Sharpton up there bitching, pissing, and moaning, as usual, causing some issues. We had a couple of, I believe a couple more police officers have been assaulted. Another one shot. We had one shot here in Fort Worth yesterday. He was not ambushed. I'll clarify that. He was not ambushed. I watched a video last night where this thug was actually fighting physically with two police officers, and when they hit him with the stun gun, it didn't even stop this little guy, and he actually knocked one of the cops out with one of his blows, and you could hear the thugs in the background, whoop that nigga's ass, whoop that nigga's ass, talking to his buddy to whoop the cop.
That's what the guy was saying? Wow.
The black guys in the background, tear his ass up, nigga. Take his fucking head off and things like that. And I was like, wow, I wish I had been there. I would have mowed his ass down with a car. I really would have. But anyway, so we still have the situation with the police departments, Bobby, and I know we have bad guys out there in the police department, but we also have good guys. And please, folks, don't paint a big target on the police officer's head. If you're witnessing a situation where the police officers are out of hand, exercise with intelligence your right to either intervene and defuse the situation using whatever you need to use to do so, but try not to use deadly force and hope they don't use deadly force on you, but at least film it and address the situation, but don't let a person get beat or killed right in front of you when you know that it's not right what's going on. But don't paint a target on the police officer's head. My brother's a cop. And he's an asshole, but he doesn't go out in public, and to my knowledge, and he's never had an infraction at work where he's unjustly beaten a person or been abusive to a person. So, there are guys out there that are good cops. Do I like my brother on a personal note? He's a dickhead. Do I love him because he's my brother? Absolutely. Do I want to see harm come to him? Absolutely not. But if I witnessed him doing something he shouldn't be doing, I would intervene. I wouldn't let him, just do it without saying, hey, dude, get off of him, or Alan, that's wrong, get off, or I'm going to have to kick your ass right now, I'll do what I had to do. So we still having a situation with that. The riots seem to have settled down. I'm not seeing much on the riots, and because I'm not on Facebook all the time, Bobby, I really don't, I'm not in the know as much as I would be if I could interact with folks and do the proper research. Right. But if y'all can bring anything to the table, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Right. Right.
What else
All right,
do you know about that the listeners need to know, Bobby? Just put it out there, buddy.
No. I mean, just important stuff. The only things that I think are very important, until we really know what the hell's going on, with the whole Yellowstone stuff. I mean, like I said, I contacted, I was in contact, sent an email and went back and forth with Al Nash. Of course they're sugarcoating it, saying that, nothing's going to happen, whatever. But you know what? I mean, we're going to bring Tom on. With Tom comes, tons of callers and listeners and so on and so forth. And, so far he's told us Monday. That's the only thing that I really want to talk about. And if you want to, talk about whatever show you're going to have tomorrow, please, by all means, and because I'm actually, I'm almost home, so I'm going to be calling it a day here, and I'm going to break myself off from the show. But, one thing that I do want to say, though, is everybody, we tell you all the time, whatever we're talking about, just don't take our word for it, okay? Please look it up.
Yeah.
Do your own research. Do your own homework. I mean, Pete spends hours and hours and hours reading and investigating and looking stuff up, does the same thing. I do whatever time I can, and then whatever they find, they usually send me stuff on stuff. I mean, I get messages all the time about stuff. I don't just run with anything that anybody sends to me. None of us do. We investigate it. We look into it. We make sure that it's a true story and that there's something behind it. So if anybody says, reveal your sources, we can go, here it is, and look at it. It's all pretty, and it's ready for you to look at. So, but don't take our word for anything. Please do your own research. We welcome anybody to come on this show. You can call us and talk to us about anything. You can ask us questions. You can debate us. I mean, we don't care. That's what we're here for. But the main thing is, by the time this show is over with, we want you to learn something, but we want to learn something also.
Oh, God,
I've made it a point, and I say every show, what do I close the show with, Becky? What do I always say before I leave the show? I want to learn something.
Yeah,
every show. Yeah. Every show, I want to learn something, okay? And I, for the most part, I do. I mean, sometimes we talk about the same thing more than once, but we're trying to get it into the heads of the patriots that are sitting behind their little desk and their computer and everything, talking about they're the big bad wolf on the block, and that, if they could make it here and there, that they would do this and that. We know that not everybody can make it. I mean, I would love to go to some of these things also, okay, but a lot of us can't afford it. Me working 60, 70 hours a week, and then taking care of my family, spending time with my wife and my son, which, are the most important things to me. Everybody has to realize sitting there and talking about something and then actually doing something is two different worlds. You can keep talking and talking and talking and talking, but you know what? Your words are starting to disappear into the darkness because nobody wants to hear it anymore. Okay? They want to see numbers. Just like Washington. Yeah. Look, Manny Vega and Blaine Cooper, two of the biggest patriots on planet Earth, they went there and they asked for other patriots to go stand with them. Okay, they got 15 other people to show up. That's sad. Very sad. Texas rised up. They rised up for good reason, because they don't want the Sharia law. They don't want the caliphate to go into place and everything in Texas. Texas stood up. Texas made themselves known. Look, we know Texas could have had way more numbers if they really, really wanted to. Okay, 2,000 people for a Texas event is bad. Okay, I'm betting that a lot of you people that live in Texas, like you, Becky, are probably looking at that as kind of like a failure per se. I mean, you're glad that the numbers were there, but you were expecting probably 100 times that amount. You know what I mean?
Easily, and it was a beautiful day for it, brother.
Right. So with all that being said, look, we just want you all to be able to come onto this show, share information, make sure that you have all your facts straight, though. I mean, please don't come on here and try to share something that you don't have anything to back it up, because there's a lot of times that we're going to ask you to reveal your source. If you don't have a source or your source is shit, you might get clobbered over the head, and we may tell you that you're goofy or whatever, but at least we're going to let you have your word. We do open mic all the time. We allow people to come on and say whatever they want to say, and and rage against this regime that we're totally not in correlation with. So with all that being said, I'm like right around the corner from my house. So I want to say goodnight to everybody, and, as I'm going to say, as I always say, without you, we are nothing, and I want everybody to enjoy the weekend. Please listen to Becky's show tomorrow. I'm not sure what time she's doing it, so let you guys all know in a little while once I get off.
It'll be 2 p.m.
Okay, and then Monday is a very, very, very big show, okay? 4:30, I believe the show's going to be. Tom Luju from Bunker Report, which you guys, I know you guys love him, because when he comes on, we get thousands of listeners. We get the phones completely lit up. We can't even handle all the phone calls and everything else. So Tom will be back on with us on Monday, 4:30 p.m. Please come and give a listen to that show. If you have any questions or comments, email us, send us a message to Facebook, whatever, and just get us a message. Whatever questions you have for Tom, you're more than welcome to send to us. We will ask Tom any questions, but better than that, please give us a call. Call us up, and you can talk to Tom right on the air. Ask him any questions that you want to ask him, and Tom will be more than happy to answer you. And anybody that wants to debate Tom, he's always open for debate, okay? So that's pretty much all I have to say. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. I'm going to say right now that I'm rooting for the Patriots, even though I'm an NFC guy. I am not an AFC guy, but I'm really not a big fan of the Seattle Seahawks uniforms. So I'm going to say I think that Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski are going to completely bowl over on the Seattle Seahawks. So
they're gonna French kiss and make up on the field after that, so it's all right.
They're what? What was that?
They're gonna French kiss and make up on the field afterwards, so it's all right. No, I'm just kidding.
Ooh,
I'm just kidding.
We're not talking about Green Bay here. We're not talking about Green Bay. Now, if you were talking about Green Bay, I would agree with that, because I can't stand Green Bay. And I know with you being a Cowboys fan, I mean, you shouldn't be a fan of Green Bay either.
Absolutely not, man. Anything Green Bay breaks me out in a rag. Hey, Bobby, I'm going to change the show time from 2 tomorrow to noon. I'm going to do it at noon because I do have some stuff that I'm working on that I'm going to need to do tomorrow. So tomorrow's show will be open mic. It will be noon. I raged today, so I probably won't rage tomorrow, but I will engage you in some great information, and I'll open the mics up for folks to come on and do a round table, exchange information, and let's see if we can find some solutions. Thank you, Bobby.
Okay.
You have a great night.
Well, go ahead and set the show
weekend,
up
brother.
and do whatever you got to do and all that.
All right.
But like I said, have a great weekend, everybody. Keith, thanks for calling in. Jim, thanks for the rebroadcast, brother. We appreciate it. And that's about it. So goodbye from me, and have a great weekend, everybody. All right. Bye-bye now.
Be safe, brother. Bye-bye. All right. Looks like it's going to be you, Keith, myself, and there's somebody at a 469 area code. They didn't have their hand up, but I muted the mic. They haven't spoken. Who's on area code 469? Who we got? Hello, 469.
Hello?
I guess they're gun shy. Hello, who have I got? Who is it? 469.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, who is it?
Can you hear me?
Yep, who is it?
Name's Steve.
I can hear you.
Listening.
Who?
My name is Steve. I've been listening to the calls ever since the event in Garland. I was there that day and heard about these podcasts at that event. I've been listening several times since then.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. I got on a little bit of a tangent today. I'm a little bit irritated with what happened in Austin yesterday. Man, I tell you, I bust my tail 18 hours a day, sometimes 20, 21 hours a day before I hit the bed and sleep. I eat, breathe, and sleep information and trying to get, folks motivated, and I'm just as frustrated as I can be. Garland was a great event, but yesterday was an epic failure. And it was probably one of the most important days that we needed to show up, to show up. And so I'm frustrated, brother. I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm afraid things are going to have to get worse before people really decide to get involved. You never really know who's listening, watching, waiting. They're basically there and they're just about ready to act, but they're waiting for things to get worse. I hate that that's the situation, but that's probably how it is, sadly, because since our government is against us, no one can really act alone because then you just disappear, so.
And that's true. That's true.
And so it's going to have to get to the point that it becomes essentially revolution, and everybody has to step up,
See, and I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I really do, and because I have painted such a huge target on my forehead for this government, they've actually shut up at my home. When I was running for governor, I had two little goons in suits approach me when I was getting in my car one day, and they engaged me in conversation. They called me by name. I turned around. They engaged me in conversation and told me it would be, and this is a quote, it would be in my best interest to cease my pursuance to secede Texas. That was a quote. At which case, at which point I actually asked them for identification, which they refused to show me. But I know who they were, And then I politely let them know I took that as a personal threat and that I was packing and I wouldn't hesitate to use whatever I needed to use if I felt my life was in danger, and they left. But at the end of the day, it will take a collective number of bodies, people, presence, because to assure people like myself and others who have painted this huge target on their head, not afraid to speak the truth, I deliver it very harshly sometimes. Sometimes I use more eloquence, other times I use no decorum at all. Today would be an example of me just being pissed off and raging. And I know it makes patriots angry, but at the end of the day, it's like this is the only way that I can shake you and get your attention and go, look, quit being stupid. And it doesn't taste very good. It really doesn't. It's not a nice way to have to deliver it, but you get to a point where you can no longer sugarcoat the situation. You can no longer handle them like they're children. We're all adults, and you're going to have to wake up and do something. All the knowledge in the world will do me no good at work, in my workplace, if I don't exercise that knowledge to become productive for the company. They will escort me out a door. Correct? So it's the same thing with this patriot movement. Don't tell me what a patriot you are and how diligently you sat on the Internet and exchanged information and joined all these groups and had discussions, but you refuse to get out and do anything more than that. All you're doing is having a social moment. You're not really being effective. Phone calls and petitions are not they've not gotten us anywhere, and they're not going to get us anywhere. What we have got to find a resolution to the problem that we have. And I have a judge that I got so angry when I found out about the Muslim Brotherhood or the Muslim Capital Day. I was so angry. When I ran for governor, I was afforded counsels for everything, because if we seceded, we needed a military, we needed to keep our our infrastructure, economics. I had an economic advisor. I had a political advisor and strategist, and I had a legal advisor. And the head of that council was one and the same person. It was a retired judge by the name of Judge Reed Chambers. Reed Chambers II. He's out of Missouri, but he stepped up to the gate and he delivered for me. He kept me on course. And I reached out to him the other day and I said, brother, I'm so angry. We are in so much trouble here in Texas. I said, I have got to do something and I need your help. I need your expertise. I need your knowledge. I'm trying desperately to find a resolution to avoid revolution. I don't want to see blood flowing in my streets, because it's going to be more horrific than anybody ever imagined, because the entities that have been brought here for the purpose of genocide are ridiculous. I said, the people don't understand what we do know. See, part of my military council is active duty border patrol, and I still stay in touch with those guys, and they still tell me the truth about what is truly going on, what has really gone on at the border. So I know the horror of it all. I know for a fact that countries from all over the world have come through there. Their nationals have come through there. I know for a fact it was done with purpose. I know for a fact they found flyers that were left behind by ISIS in Mexico and along the Texas border and the Arizona and New Mexico and California border that ISIS purposefully put there that said, we're here. And we're coming. And I have a picture of it. I mean, I had the picture sent to me. And so I know the truth about what is here. And it is horrifying. When the dollar collapses, the invaders who are sucking off the tit with the benefits that they're receiving, they're not prepared. They're going to kill you to get your food. They're going to take your weapon. They're going to come for your car. They'll burn you out of your house. They're going to kill your children. They're going to rape them. There's going to be a whole lot of bloodshed in the streets. And then you've got the street gangs and the thugs. You've got the drug cartel. You've got Al-Qaeda. You've got Hamas that came through there. This is not a tinfoil hat thing. This is absolute fact that I got from security forces, active duty, right here in Texas, and from active duty border patrol officers. I know the truth. And I keep trying to tell people, and I can't motivate them, Steve. I can't motivate them with the truth. I can't get them off the couch to avoid that situation. All we had to do was just go in and surround Washington by the millions, take them out, put them in cuffs, block the tunnels, and say, you're done. We're done with this. You're guilty of tyranny. You're being very transparent with it. And you, sir, you, ma'am, you've aided and abetted that. If he's not eligible, it's not tyranny, it's espionage. It carries the same penalty. There's a doubt about his eligibility, so on and so forth, and just move in that direction. But the Patriots refuse to do it. And so at the end of the day, now we're at a state level, and this is where we live. And Texas can break away without the congressional approval because we were not part of the original union. We came in after the fact, and we have that affordability. But we have a lot of people working to free us, free Texas and secession. But we're looking at a 2-3 year program down the road to get this implemented, and we simply don't have the time to do it because we're being taken over. And so, unfortunately, doing my economic course that I had to crash course with my economic advisor, it led us to do some investigation on infrastructure and small to medium businesses and things of that nature. And what we found out at the end of the day is that 70 to 75% of small to medium businesses in this country are now owned by immigrants that have been given to immigrants with special provisions specifically for immigrants. And then we found out about the private bills specifically for Muslims, delivering them from any taxation and giving them money without interest because under Sharia law, they don't pay interest. They tax the infidel. They don't get taxed. They impose tax. And they don't pay interest on money. So they're afforded this in our country while we're being sucked like, a tick on our ass, just sucking the lifeblood out of us. And so we're in some serious trouble. And so I try to reach out to the patriots, and I try to get my people rallied, and I just can't do it, Steve. I'm doing everything I can. You know, I'm working until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning on a proposed amendment to the Constitution so that we can get them for breaching law concerning separation of church and state, concerning the Sharia law. I mean, I've got my fingers in so many fires, and I'm dedicated. You can, if you follow me on Facebook, and I'm in Facebook jail right now because I committed another Facebook felony, but at the end of the day, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see me on there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't even go to bed until 4, you know, trying to gather information and get it to my researchers and find out what's true and what's not, and what we really need to do and how can we do it. I'm constantly doing it. Then I run a business, then I run a household, then I have a family, and then I have, you know, children I brought over here from England, and then I do the radio show, and I do round tables. And my point being is I never stop, even on the weekend. I just go full scale, trying to do everything I can, be a part of this, be at this event, speak at that event, do a radio show for somebody else, be a call-in guest for somebody else. And at the end of the day, I have this huge target. And you're right. People like me disappear because our government gets rid of us. But if there's millions of us like me, they can't come and get us all.
Yep.
You know, and I'm not patting myself on the back. I do this because God put this in my heart. You know, God did put this in my heart. I'm doing it because I have compassion and I have a love for my country and for the people in it. And I deserve nothing more than anybody else, you know, for doing what I do. But my point is that, you know, a few of us can't do so much and get it done. We need a whole bunch of people doing something to get it done. And that's my point in that rant, you know.
I wish I'd heard more of today. I was busy working on something and didn't call in until about 6, so I missed most of today's conversation.
Well, I'll tell you what you missed today. You missed me ranting and raving about the Muslims and telling truth about the Quran. That's what you really missed today, because I really went off on a tangent very early, and it was triggered because we still had people out there in the chat room asking why I feel that I need to target all Muslims as terrorists when I just gave the explanation and invited them to go do their own research and explain to them about the 4 different ways of deception that they practice. It's in their Quran. And, you know, it's the same thing that I have to just keep beating a dead horse over, and it just really irritated me because what happened yesterday, see, Congress was not in session. The congressman that met these cockroaches that call, and this is our 11th, this has been going on since 2003, and I'm politically motivated and ran for governor for the state of Texas, and this is the first time I've ever heard about Muslim Day at the Capitol. I've never heard about it. But now they're being very transparent about what they're doing, and there's been so much of it this month that I know they're in a fast-forward motion, and now disclosing that there's Sharia courts being held in arbitrary court, denying the law of the land as their law and implementing Sharia law, and they call it arbitration. And they do that because it's nothing more than semantics, but by calling it an arbitrary committee or a tribunal that only does arbitration, legally what that says is that they can do it. But what the content of the arbitration, when it's stated that they actually are dividing assets or handling a monetary division of assets and still implementing the Sharia punishment of dismemberment and what have you, even though they didn't state it as such, but they, under the guidelines in the Quran and how they deal with the separation of marriage and what happens to the woman is now being determined by a tribunal and an arbitrary court called the Sharia court. See, these are all things that they cannot do. Because if you know the laws about marriage and separation of marriage and what it entails and what Sharia law is, you full well know that what their intention is to beat or to harm physically another individual without suffering by experiencing not only the diplomatic privilege of not being charged in a court of law governed by the same laws that we have to follow over certain instances like that, or a division of property, or in a state when the reason you have a marriage license is because it's actually a contract with the state for them to intervene in the event that you have dissolved marriage and there is property. They intervene and a judge decides who gets what instead of the parties deciding, well, you take the house because you got the kids and I'm going to take this car and you take that car. See, we've allowed law to dictate how we even divide our own family in the event of a division. Well, in the Sharia courts, they're going to do their own thing, and they're exempt from having to do things the way we have to do lawfully. So there is a breach of the Constitution there, and our lawmakers have allowed it, because to simply change the semantics does not change a definition. It's only used in a different way to give it a different content to serve purpose for the subject. And so they're very clever about the way they do things, and I can't tell people enough on this radio show. I'm not any smarter than anyone else. I may have a little bit higher IQ than some and lower than others. I just take the time to study and get the information. So I am proposing an amendment, and I am attaching a demand for expediency for it to be heard so that we can cut them off at the knuckle on the Sharia law issue. But the rest of it is still a problem. They'll find another way to circumvent their way into our law and to control our politicians and to use our own laws against us. And that's why they call themselves a religious organization, when in fact they're a political and a militant theology, a cult at best. And I'll quit ranting on that, Steve. I apologize.
Don't apologize. It's fine. It's all true, everything you said. So I understand completely.
And from time to time, my language is much like a sailor on this show. And God knew I was going to say it before I said it, and He's already forgiven me. So if the listeners can't, then I'm probably not their cup of tea, and they need to move on down the road. Find somebody that's going to massage their ears with, sugar-coated crap, because I'm not her. But I'm working on me. I'm a work in progress. But at the end of the day, I do my homework. I'm certainly not. I'm certainly not somebody out here trying to push my position or my opinion without debate or a proof of source to establish the truth that I'm speaking on. I certainly ask anybody or invite anybody to come on, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm not always right. Nobody is, but I do my best to do my research so that I don't misguide someone or get them in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I sure appreciate you coming on. Where are you at, Steve? Do you live in the Metroplex area, or are you in the rural part of Texas?
Dallas. I'm in the metro area. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Me too. I'm in the Arlington area. I live 5 minutes from UTA, 5 minutes from football, 5 minutes from the baseball stadium, and 6 minutes from Six Flags. I mean, I'm eat up with traffic. Yeah, it's
pretty good spot.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice spot if you want. If the world, let me put it this way: if the world were the place we really believed it used to be, okay, but that was an illusion. Now I'm out of that bubble. I would be in a perfect spot. I'm 20 minutes from the airport. I fly free. I've been all over the world. I fly free because my ex is in the flight industry, and I'm still on benefits. And I've been all over the world. I've enjoyed a lot of things in my life, and I've experienced a lot of things. But now they probably yanked my passport. I doubt I could get out of the country, and if I did, I probably couldn't get back in. And even flying domestically, I haven't flown in over a year domestically. I'm sure they'll give me grief when I do because I've become very vocal and because of my position. But at the end of the day, if this were a perfect world, I'd be in a great spot because I can get to everything real quick. But right now I'm actually looking to move out of the area. And something that I haven't spoken about on the show today is I have a business partner. His name is Ron. I'm not going to say his last name on air because I just don't need to do that yet. But his name is Ron, and he's here in Texas, and he has some land on Matagorda Island, which is off the coast, just south of Galveston. It's an isolated area, 28 miles of beach. And what we have begun to do, and this is part of the reason that I go fast forward 100 miles an hour as soon as my feet hit the floor every day, is I have so much to do. But we're creating a business, and in this business, and we haven't named it yet. In fact, he just said we should do a contest and let the Patriots name the business for us. But we are getting our ducks in a row, and we're projecting an open house for business on the 15th of March. We have a military-grade training camp. You know, you have all these militias doing these random FTX camps, and they're being led by most of the people don't know what the hell they're doing. They're watching videos and trying to impart information, or they might have one or two people from the military that are in there to help teach them shoot, move, and communicate. But anyway, it's a mess. FTX and preparedness camps are a mess across the board. And I really haven't had any reports of any serious injuries, but I have had reports of a child molestation out at Tyler at one of the camps. There was a man sleeping with a 13-year-old whose father was a part of the group, and he left the kid, and meanwhile somebody at the camp molested her. I mean, I've heard some horror stories. And so what we have to offer is shoot, move, communicate, water purification, reverse osmosis, saltwater purification, military-grade training for resistance, hand-to-hand combat, disarmament, long-range shooting for 50 caliber, long-range shooting, and some other things, agility and some scuba recon, where we have nothing but veterans who are doing the training, and it is a structured course, and we have a menu that you can choose from where you come to the island, and for 3 days exclusive, you're on the island, and we're just kicking your ass with some serious training. And at the end of the day, the courses all involve different hours because in order for us to get you efficient in a position or a certain class, it takes time. And so we make it affordable. You come to the camp, you take your courses. At the end of the day, you do a grade out or an exam, and you graduate from that course, you receive a patch. And we're also doing a medic program, and it's a field medic program because we're not accredited yet, but we are trying to find that coalition with an accredited school by the state wherein we can actually get folks, get one of their teachers to come to the island and actually hold a course and a class there for the folks who graduated on a field level to get to a state-certified level for first responder medic. In the event of a disaster. And so we're doing a lot of great things with this program, and we're targeting, the reason we target vets, it's a paid position for them. When they get out of the military, what this is going to offer them is the benefits that the government will supplement them for the first year that they're out of the military. If they go right into the working sector and have a paid position, they will still receive some supplement from their VA benefit that otherwise they would not be afforded because they're not employed. So we're helping everybody, and then we are working on a trouble team program. We can put them with the vets, and this is not a typical get in your face, you're screwing up kid bait camp. This is teaching them the same things that anybody else would learn coming to it without the firearms. We're not going to get firearms with them. we're not going to do a self-defense course with them. But the other things, survival, food, fire, water, things like that, scuba, medic will help them learn, because it will, I believe, not only help the soldier who may be needing a little more than what he's getting, coming out with some PTSD issues, and to be able to focus and help a troubled teenager, an idle mind is a dangerous thing, but an active mind can be a very productive thing, and I think it will help everybody all the way around there. But anyway, it instills, I believe this will instill pride and redirect these kids. And in the event that they're out in a real-world situation, they come across a wreck or somebody choking, or, rather than being geared more toward being destructive and aggressive and taking life or harming life, they'll be rewired, if you will, hopefully, that they'll be out there to save life and to be compassionate. So we're working on it, and that's something we're putting together, and I'm going to be very excited when we pull it all together. We're filing our LLC. We've got our board members for the board. I've secured the attorneys for the grant writing. We've secured some of the instructors already, so it's taken off. It's going to be amazing.
Sounds really good. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a win-win situation. One, we're preparing people where they're really actually in a real-life situation, should the shit hit the fan, so to speak, they're going to be able to, incapable. But at the same time, we're teaching them things that they can use in the event of a natural disaster, in the event of being attacked on the street. A woman can handle herself, or a man can handle themselves. And by teaching disarmament during those courses of self-defense, this is what they teach in Krav Maga, is it can be a benefit too. So if somebody has a knife on you, a gun to your head or whatever, you'll learn how to disarm them and turn that weapon on them to save your own life if need be. So this is a good thing, Day to day, we see it every day, crime in the street. So, the knockout game, kill Whitey, I'm going to take your purse, I'm going to rob you at the ATM, or, we see it. We see it all the time. It happens. So this will be beneficial all the way around for everybody that takes the time to come and enjoy the training. And I'm excited about it. I am excited. And being it's military-grade training, they'll be conditioned. Pardon?
Has it gone so far in the planning that you have kind of a guess or an estimate on when it would be up and running, or you haven't gotten that far yet?
No, we have. We've been working, man, I work day and night. I eat, sleep, and drink this stuff from the Patriot movement to the business, and I usually give about 4 or 5 hours to the business every day in its creation. We are projecting March 15th as the opening date for the island. We already have we have the mobile kitchen. We already have some structure up on the island. We have the mobile kitchen. We already have the kitchen staff, the cooks, and what have you for that. We have hand-to-hand combat trainers. We have long-range shooter trainers. We've got a scuba instructor already. It's coming along great. We've got survivalist preparedness, food, fire, and water. We've got a lot in place already, but we are rotating those instructors. Obviously, they can't live on the island because many of them have families and things of that nature. So they will be committed to a schedule program that can, work with their current conditions, living whatever, their life holds for them. So we rotate. So we are still looking for more instructors that we can fit into that rotation. And we know we're going to secure the grant money, so that's going to help us with the operation. And then at some point we'll become a 501c3 nonprofit organization because we're working with the kids, so that way we can give back to the community. We're not looking to get rich here. We're looking to function, and we want to be able to create a revenue that we can give back to the Patriot movement. So when we have something going on like what happened yesterday in Austin, we can give to the movement so that they can put people on bus and take them in and give them a box lunch, just like what our opposition is able to do to come against us, these Muslims, where, pardon me, they ship them in, organize these protests, and it costs money. We're going to try to help generate revenue that direction. So it's got many purposes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm excited, and I think that the folks will be excited too. I've got an amazing tattoo artist working on the logo work for the patches for graduation. You'll graduate for every course. We'll have its own patch. You'll graduate from that course, and it will hold some esteem. When you get out of this course, at the end of the day, we want to build this so that people understand. When you say, "Hey, I completed the course at blah blah," whatever we choose our name to be, we're still up in the air. We're really having a hard time with that. I'm able to do everything else, but coming up with a name for a business seems to be a real task at this point because it has to have meaning. But at the end of the day, it will be something to be proud of, and when people hear it, they're going to go, "Holy shit, did you really complete that course? Man, that's amazing, what an accomplishment." Because we want them to feel good about what they've done, and we want people to give them affirmation of their effort being a great thing. So, with that said, that's what we're doing, brother. That's who I am. I don't recall who you are, where I met you, but obviously I met you at some point out at the rally, and I do apologize for that. I met a whole bunch of people.
No, that's okay.
If you can refresh my memory.
Yeah, we didn't actually meet. I was out there, and it was, I'd gone back and forth a few times. I wanted to go, wasn't sure. I was going to have someone with me, and then that person got sick and wasn't able to, and I decided that basically I went because I'd be ashamed if I didn't. I just jumped in the car and went. I didn't have any, didn't have a sign or anything. I just showed up and I was out there, and I overheard. It may have been you. It may have been someone else. I just heard someone say, "Hey, check out this, Rage Against the Regime," and so when I got home that night, I checked it out, and I've listened several times since then. I did get to hear I won't say the name, but there was a gentleman that was there, and he called in a couple of days after that, and he talked for quite a while, a couple of times, and I really enjoyed listening to him. That was a lot of good information.
He'll be back on our show again. We're going to invite him back. It'll probably be in a couple weeks. I think I don't know if you know the gentleman, Elmer Williams. He goes by EP on Facebook. He's the black gentleman, the old guy that hates Obama. He's always cussing him in his videos. He's out of Houston. He's a friend of mine. And he cussed the black people for acting like niggers. That's what he says. Don't be a nigger. Don't be a nigger. And quit calling each other nigga. If you want respect, demand respect by not degrading yourself. He's that kind of guy. And he's been on my show a couple of times, and we always have a great audience. I mean, he's an amazing man. He does a couple of shows of his own. Aside from having his YouTube channel, he's really grown in popularity. And I've also invited the young black preacher. His last name is Gentry. Brother Gentry did right after the craziness that went down in Ferguson. He did a video, and he really told the young black youth off in that. And they're much like Pastor Manning and the others. They don't get on the whole black-white bandwagon, and they hate what's going on in their community. And rightfully so, they all have children and grandchildren. Pastor Manning's got kids and grandkids, and it makes it hard for them when they're viewed by a population or a populace because of their color based on the actions of so many in their communities, and they're really against that. So I love having them on because they'll tell everybody off. They don't pick on just one race. They just tell you, "Oh, you're stupid." Everybody just quit being stupid, and I love that. So that's That's a great time. I would love to have you back on, brother. Are you involved with any of the groups, or are you just kind of out there by yourself as a patriot?
Not really involved with anybody per se. I like I said, the thing in Gotham was that's the first time I've ever attended, something like that. Just decided it's what I should do. Something like that happening in my own backyard. Basically,
it's pretty disturbing. How did you hear about the rally?
I'm not sure, honestly, because it got just a little bit of coverage on the news. There was a little bit of stuff on Facebook, and so I really don't recall where I heard about it first. I follow, some different groups or pages or, things I follow on Facebook. I may have gotten a notice through there the first time. I don't recall, honestly.
Well, I for one, sir, am honored. I always welcome another family member, and I really appreciate you calling and listening in. And again, from time to time, if you listened before, you probably heard rant and rave, but today I went on a tangent, and I'm telling you, I got every reason to do so. It's just my delivery can sometimes be very, very, very harsh, and today it was harsh. But at the end of the day, I'm out here, and I'm doing what I can do together. The masses, we have pretty good audience now. We have other gentlemen who have other shows, and they stream us, so we're getting some great exposure. We've gone from thousands to hundreds of thousands as far as a listening base, so we are getting out there. It just takes time, and we just don't have time anymore. I'm with you. I feel like we're on the cusp of a revolution. People are tired, and I believe that that's what the government is trying to push us toward, to kick it off. And when I hear patriots say, well, we have to wait for the first shot. Well, the first shot's been fired. This is 1776. This is the year of technology, and the many things, the atrocities that are occurring across the globe, from murdering their own in government, to murdering, our military and people like myself who speak out and calling it suicide. People need to wake up. This is a very evil regime, and they will stop at nothing to accomplish their agenda. And the only thing that will stop them is enforcing people. You've got literally, this is how ridiculous this is. We have literally only a handful of thousands of people who are causing this whole situation globally. And I'm not talking about the Muslims, because they are the foot soldiers, but there are Muslims in that mix of that thousands that are causing this issue. And it would be your elite. And people that try to refute that statement and say, well, there is no Illuminati and there is no elite. Well, you need to do a little bit of homework, and they may not call themselves that, but that's what we call them, and that's what they've been deemed, and that's who they are. And these are very evil, greedy bastards, for lack of a better terminology, that want to rule the world, and they get high on power and position, and they're heartless. They would kill their own mother if they thought it was a great benefit to them, and many have killed people in their own family to get to where they are today that are among these people. So at the end of the day, this is how ridiculous it is. There's 7.5 billion people or 7.2 billion people in the entire globe, and we have this handful of monsters who have manipulated monetary systems and controlled people by brainwashing, dumbing them down, making them sick, keeping them ill, keeping them genetically altering us to a degree that we have been so complacent, we have allowed but a few to control the entire world. And we're trying to stop the madness because enough is enough and it's gotten out of control. But this is end times, and this is very biblical. Much of what's going on is very biblical. I know that there are people out there who are agnostics and atheists and don't believe the Bible is correct, but some of the events that are taking place are very, very specifically outlined in Revelations, and we're seeing that come to fruition. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean our job is over, because as foot soldiers for Christ and humanity, we must step up to the plate and do what we've been destined to do or put here to do, and that's why I do what I do. I've got but one life to live, and if I can live this life and know that I left this life trying to do everything that I can for my fellow man, not just for myself, but do it in a selfless manner, then I have accomplished my purpose in life, and my life was for something rather than being for nothing. So that's why I do what I do.
So that's great. I understand completely, and you're absolutely right. It's all, what's happening is all part of the plan, so to speak. You know, it was all spelled out in the Bible, just like you say. How it's all going to go down, you know, and it's like a giant chessboard if you look at it that way. All the pieces are moving into place. You know? From many times in this life, have often wondered how would we get from where we were, 20, 30 years ago, or 40. How would we get from where that world to the world that is now, and the one that we're, just on the verge of. And it's just kind of all falling into place, all the pieces on the chessboard. When Israel is completely surrounded, which we're almost there now, people that only get their information from ABC World News don't know it. And so they're pretty much surrounded right now. But when all that touches off, Israel is our best friend in the world, regardless of what some people want to think. And so I've often wondered, why are we not part of that? What's keeping us at bay when that comes? And it's because we will have been so infiltrated, even if we have any politicians left that want to help, the roaches in our kitchen will simply say, hey, if you lift a finger, then everything you have is going to burn and blow up, because they'll be so dug in, we can't get, like ticks that are dug in, you can't get them out.
Yeah, you're correct, and part of the reason that they've been able to do what they're doing, I mean, first of all, we wrestle not with flesh and bone, but against principalities. I mean, that's truly what we're up against. This is a very evil entity, and you have to call a dog, and you've got to call a spade, and denying truth does not dissolve its existence. It doesn't change the fact that it's reality. Reality is what it is. But at the end of the day, we're in a situation where, God said they'd have eyes to see and they had ears to hear, but they will not hear and they will not see. They won't. They'll have eyes to see, but they will not see. They'll have ears to hear and they will not hear. And Satan knows this. He's well aware of it. And that has been used as a tool, and it's being used today. And deception is a very powerful tool, much as fear is and complacency. And if you can push a person into complacency by use of force or fear, they will remain there. And with closed eyes or open eyes but refusing to see what is fact, and with closed ears refusing to hear the truth as it is truth, you're destined to hell. I mean, you sealed your fate completely. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying that you won't go to heaven. Don't misunderstand me, because there are Christians out there that are those people. But what I am saying is that you set yourself up for something that God did not intend for you, period. He says, my will that you live be of a good old age, make you prosper even as your soul prospers. He never said, I wanted you to be sick from the minute you took your first breath until you take your last breath. He never said, I wanted you to live in poverty. When he said, sell everything you have and follow me, he didn't mean that he wanted us in poverty. And so many times the semantics of the Bible have been taken out of context, and people have denied themselves the truth and prosperity that was truly meant for them. So at the end of the day, Satan knows all the things that we know. He knows the Bible probably better than we know it, but because he was God's fallen, and it's his job to know every word in that book in order to steal the souls and the lives of others. He has to know what he's up against. So he's a very clever entity, and for what purpose, I don't know, and I can't question God. Why did you allow this? Or, not that I don't have that question in my heart, or God, why did you allow sickness? Or God, why did you allow Satan to even be? Or, Lord, why didn't you have enough compassion and forgive the fault of man in the beginning? Why do we all suffer? Why does it say that, we fall into the sins of our father and our father's father and so on and so forth? I mean, I don't understand that. I don't, because I'm taught he's a compassionate and loving and caring God. He's the creator of all, and everything that I am and everything that I'll ever be is only because of him. I have questions. I'm a Christian. I have questions just like everybody else, but I also fall short. There's some things I don't do or that I do that are not very Christian-like. Language, anger, just to name a few, ill thought, having hatred in my heart. Boy, I must run with that one because of the Muslim situation. But at the same time, I still have that wretch in my heart that I know those souls will be lost forever. You see, that does hurt me. And when that stops hurting me, then I'll know I'm done. You know what I mean? I need to go a different direction, because that means I'm falling away from God completely. When I fail to have the compassion for every soul, even my enemy's soul, then I'm no better than the next. And I need to readdress my situation and search myself and my soul. But anyway, at the end of the day, I could talk your ear off, brother. I'm sorry. I don't mean to go off like that.
No, it's perfectly fine. I enjoyed the conversation.
I appreciate it. I do. And I'd love to have
maybe somebody learn something.
Well, I'm hoping so. I know sometimes I can be damaging. Whenever I get on my tangent, my rages and my rants, I am a human being, and I get fed up. I get tired, and I come across very harsh. But at the end of the day, it's also a weeding, if you will, because if you can't take the truth, and I'm making you check yourself in the mirror, and you're one of those people that I'm bitching at, or I'm telling you, I'm tired of hearing you say what a patriot you are, and you don't do anything more than enjoy your social club on the internet, but you won't get up and act on what needs to be acted upon. I've run some people off. I've made some people very angry, but at the end of the day, that's called weeding them out, in my opinion. It used to bother me, but it doesn't anymore, because you know what? You're spineless. You don't have what it takes, and I would not want you in battle with me, because you're going to be the coward that runs, and I'm going to catch a bullet because you're a coward. You're the person that's just looking out for yourself. You're not looking out for everybody. And so I guess it's a form of weeding the weak out, and the ones that stay and listen and go, hey, Becky, maybe you weren't right on this, or let's talk about it, or I found something else out, and man, I know you're angry, but calm down. Those are the people that I know I can depend on at the end of the day to stand beside me in this battle, whether it's in the battle without force or the battle with force. Does that make any sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and don't worry about being too harsh. People need some harsh. That's what got us in this mess, is too much soft. Everybody's worried about their feelings. You got all the lefties worried about emotion and feelings and all that. And I'm kind of past everybody's feelings. It's time for some harsh. So, yeah.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm at. I think it's time to quit sugarcoating stuff and giving them peanut butter and jelly. If I got to send them a doo-doo sandwich, then so be it. I got to do what I got to do. But somebody's got to do it. Might as well be me. I've got the vehicle, so I might as well drive it. Well, brother, It's been a pleasure. I'm out of time here on the after-hour the after 30-minute recording that I can go over, and it's going to stop recording here in just a minute if it hasn't already. Let me check time. Yeah, we're finished recording. But it was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Me too. I appreciate you talking.
Brother, would you mind very much? I happen to have, obviously, your phone number on the board. Would you mind very much if I put you in my phone collection, and I'll send you a text, and I'll say, hey, this is Becky Williams, and you can put me in your phone. And if you ever need me for anything, please don't hesitate to holler at me. I'm a night owl. I'm usually 2-3 hours, maybe 4 hours of sleep because I just have so much to do and so little time to get it done in. So God bless him. He sustains me. I'm still plugging.
I understand. Yeah, that'd be fine. Go ahead. Put me in contact.
All right. And real quick, Steve, what's your last name, brother?
We'd have to get
we're
on
not
the
recording.
side to do that because I don't know if we're still.
No, we're not recording. I'm recorded the show. We're done. I don't have any recording time. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll send you a text real quick. Let me just send you a text, and you tell me on text instead on the. If you feel more comfortable, that's fine.
Okay.
Hang on just a second. Let me get my phone. I have to open up my contact. All right. And then I'll send you a text real quick. And you'll know it's me. Yeah. And then I'll go ahead and log my show because I do have to archive it. All right. I'm about to send you one now. And that's my phone number. And please feel free to keep it. We've got some events coming up. I'd be honored to, if you're going to any of them, I'd be honored to stand beside you, brother. If I can make it, I'm sure be there. I'll be there with my bullhorn.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Yeah, text just came in. I'll respond here.
All right.
And,
all right, brother.
Listen,
all right, I'm going to be on again tomorrow at 12 noon. If you have any information you want to share, you find something out I need to know and the listeners need to know, please feel free to call in. I'll run it from about 12 till about 1:30 tomorrow. I usually do a 2-hour show, and then we have like a 30-minute overage that we can use, but we passed that by about 10 or 15 minutes. What a shame, because people really should have been in on that last part of that little impartation of God's Word. Would probably be beneficial for some folks. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to be back on here tomorrow at 12 o'clock. I have to create the show before I get the link out, and I'll send you a link.
Okay.
And please invite your friends.
I will, absolutely will. Yeah, I'm working tomorrow, but I'll probably be listening.
All right, brother. Well, I look forward to it, and you have a very blessed and safe night. I'm going to get off here and eat something I haven't eaten today yet, and then I got to go to a basketball game.
All right. Enjoy the game.
God bless. Bye-bye.
All right. You too. Bye.